Welcome to FEO on the Air, the voice of the festivals and events industry in Ontario. This week, it's Experience Ontario with your host, FEO CEO Dave MacNeil.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of FEO on the Air. Today, we're experiencing another part of Ontario, and we're in RTO 3, the heart of Ontario, and we'd like to welcome Maria Fortunato to talk about the area, what geographical region it covers, and a few things that her and her team at RTO 3 are working on. Welcome, Maria.
Hi, Dave. Thank you for the opportunity to participate today with Festivals and Events Ontario. Certainly, festivals events hold a special place in my heart. I've personally been involved in events and festivals for a number of years. Prior to my getting involved with the RTO, I don't directly organize events, but certainly I'm very happy to be engaging and supporting the sector in the way that I work today. So the RTO 3, so our geographic area, we're Hamilton, Halton, Brant, which includes also 6 nations of the Grand River Territory and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. So when we mention Halton, Halton is a number of communities. So it includes Burlington, Town of Oakville, Halton Hills, Milton comprise the area that is known as Halton. So those communities might be more familiar to those that are listening and watching today, as opposed to hearing just about Halton. And the County of Brant includes not only the county proper, but also the city of Brantford. So again, just to another place that those listening today may be familiar with. So our mandate as an RTO, there are 13 of us, 11 maybe more of us in the province, is really about how we do tourism development, working with our industry closely, working with our partners. And our partners include not only the tourism operators, but also our communities. So what we call our destination marketing management organizations, working collaboratively with the tourism leaders across our region in terms of how we grow the opportunity around tourism. And festivals and events is definitely an important part of this and an important sector. And for us as an RTO, we work with festivals and events in many different ways. And so I'll highlight some of that hopefully in our conversation today. So in terms of our pillars, our work is organized around marketing, what we call product experience development, investment, attraction, workforce, and training. And in each of those pillars, we do engage festivals and events organizers to come out and participate or help them develop their product or their experience, support them in their marketing. But there are some criterias because we are a regional tourism organization. We are much more focused around the tourism level of events or events that are what we call up and coming and supporting their development to get to that next level where they're drawing visitors from outside of our geographic tourist identified markets. So I know at the local level, with our DMO partners, they're working with both audiences. So they're working with not only the tourism organizations, tourism events, but also local. So it's very important to have local events happening across the regions and in all our communities because local is a way to engage not only the residents, but our tourists, our visitors there's a growing interest in terms of participating in the local authentic experiences. And certainly the events that go on locally really help bring out those experiences.
And RTO 3 is certainly home to a lot of major sporting events. I know the Canadian Open has been in your area for the last number of years at a number of great golf courses in and around the area. Can you speak about the importance of sports tourism to the RTO?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So when we speak about events, I mean, at our regional level, we're working with definitely those larger sporting events. And I mean, again, for the local, the tournaments are an important part of bringing not only visitors, but it certainly does support the accommodation sector and their interests there. But we also have large cultural events that come through our region as well. I know Ryan will be highlighting a significant one that's coming up shortly, but I also want to highlight that culture and heritage are also important in the arts, and there's a lot going on related to events there. But with sporting events, we've been very fortunate to host some big events, the Grey Cup, the Canadian Open. Oakville hosted a big Briar event not too long ago as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities for our communities related to that. And when those events come into a community, it not only supports the immediate community, but from my lens at the regional level, there's also opportunity that can go beyond the boundary of where that particular sporting event may be happening, because there may be more hotel rooms that are needed, or to broaden the experience that that particular visitor is having connected to the sport, and broadening that experience across the region has been our approach to supporting those regional events. So, for example, we had not long ago, well, maybe it is long ago, but when the Pan Am Games came into the region, they encompassed not only Hamilton but also Milton, had the games as well, and so we had a very significant role as the RTO at that time, working with both of those groups and communities in terms of leveraging that and then broadening that opportunity beyond where those actual games were taking place. So I know for some of our partners, also meeting and conventions is another important sector too. And there's large associations that host large events, and the same impact or similar impact that a sporting event can do, those large association events can also bring to a community and region as well.
Now, when the ministry talks about RTOs and their impact, they're quite often talking about the big three with Ottawa, Toronto, and Niagara Falls. How
Mhm.
does it affect you being in between two of what they would consider their mega RTOs? Like, do you work closely with Toronto and with Niagara? Because to get to either, you've got to go through Hamilton, and, and there's a lot of
Yes,
benefits there, I would assume.
yes, there's definitely lots of opportunity, and we've leveraged that always. I mean, even in my days when I worked at Tourism Hamilton, we always wanted to leveraging our geographic location. And I consider myself lucky because as a region, because we have this audience that is coming through, and there is more, hub and spoking concepts that are going on. And what we do, and I do work closely with at the regional level, I do work closely with Andrew at Tourism Toronto, and in Niagara, my RTO colleague there, Daryl, and with really Niagara Parks Commission is who I work most closely with, because we share the Niagara Escarpment in our region. There's opportunities related to that, and so we do have done some product and travel trade, selling to operators initiatives with Niagara Parks Commission. So I consider ourselves lucky. And we do leverage that in how we do our marketing, and also how we're evolving how we do our experience and product development as well, keeping that in mind. And because on the other end of my region in Halton Hills, we have the Toronto Premium Outlets. And so I know it's not an event, but that outlets visitors from the Toronto area coming into our region. So we're looking at how we leverage that so they can come in and come to the rest of our region as well.
And that's one of the metrics for our Experience Ontario grants is keeping people in the region longer than the 4 hour visit and stuff like that. So those, like you say, those outlet malls and those other features are things that, once you get somebody into the region, will keep them there for an overnight stay or a weekend or maybe even a week's holiday. So they are important to think about.
Absolutely. And that is always been one of our objectives. And we recognize because of our location, we have a higher number maybe than some other regions, they're on the day trip visitation. And so what we want to make sure with that day trip visitation, one of our objectives also is staying longer than the 4 hours that they're here, or, an 8 hour day or a 12 hour day, but also spending more money while they're here. So trying to increase a higher yield per visitor is an objective as well. So, and then they'll see so much, it's upselling our region that they're going to come back and also do those overnights as part of our goal and objective as well in the work we do.
And with update dates to like the GO trains and Metro links, is that helping your area as well, like getting more traffic from Toronto and going through to Niagara and as well? I know you've been a big proponent of that.
I would say yes, absolutely. I mean, for Hamilton, all-day GO train was a dream for years and years and years, and it's been great that it's now a reality. And it's definitely provided lots of opportunities, not only for growing the residents' numbers in the community, but also the visitation opportunities, and then being able to link with Niagara again, how we look at that global tourism development lens and itineraries and packaging and things like that, how we can leverage that so that they also have a time in our region as well. I'd say transportation is overall, there is the provincial strategy, and even within our own regional strategy, it is an item like we call it, it is one of our action items to look at how we even make access and transportation even that much more important and relevant, because there are parts within my region that are rural. If we look at the County of Brant area and Six Nations, who is building their tourism opportunities at Ashweek and at Chiefswood Park, and they're very right now the only real visitors that can get there easily is by car, and they're very interested in how we improve transportation. So there are parts of the region that aren't as well connected even within the region, let alone people coming into the region. But it's a global Ontario item, which is great. So there's going to be lots of great attention that's going to be paid to this to make it better, to move not only people but visitors too. So.
And one of the large reasons for doing these segments on Experience Ontario and working with the RTOs is, at the last few years at our conference and stuff, we've been talking about the importance of RTOs and DMOs and festivals connecting and working with them. And we're really shocked, at some people that have never heard of what an RTO is or
Mhm.
what the work you do is and how the partnership availabilities are. So if someone's listening in your area and they haven't gotten in touch with you or know about your programs, how would they reach out to you and find out what work you do with festivals and events in your area?
Great question, and we always try and hope and aim to reach a lot of people, but I know it's difficult. People are busy too, operators are busy, so there are a variety of ways to connect with us. So we do have two websites. We have one website that's our leisure website, which is theheartofontario.com. So if you go on that website, for any operators that are listening that you haven't had an opportunity to engage with us, take a look at how we market the region and how global it is, and that we are always relevant in terms of what that visitor experience offer is, and provided and showcasing our region, and that seasonality is also represented in the marketing that we do as well. And once you've seen that, you get an opportunity to also participate in that marketing. And the best way to do that is we then have a corporate website, which is hamiltonhaltonbrant.com. And when you go on that website, you'll see all the ways that's geared to industry, all the ways that you can engage with us and learn more about what we do for our industry and the training opportunities and resources that are there available for our industry, also are on the corporate website. And you can sign up for our e-blast. So we have a corporate e-blast, and we do also have a consumer e-blast if you're curious to see what messages and how we're marketing what we have to offer across the region. I'd encourage you to sign up for both of those e-blasts, and you can certainly be able to stay in touch. And then please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll make sure that I connect you with the appropriate team member to help you in your business and development. But also, if you are looking to grow your event, if you're a local event right now and you're interested in looking at what it means to become a tourism event, or if you're not connected locally, we can help you also to get connected locally to relevant resources to support your development.
Thank you very much, Mary. A lot going on in the heartland of Ontario. I guess we're all on the edge of our seat now, so we're going to go over to Ryan McHugh and let's kick it off with that major cultural event that we're talking about coming to the city of Hamilton. Ryan, welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Very exciting times in Hamilton, and certainly RTO3 as well, Maria.
Sue MacNeil.
So the should have turned my phone off. So the big cultural event we're waiting to hear about. What is that, Ryan?
Yeah, so
If I
Hamilton
may
is
say, sorry,
Hamilton's
Dave,
going to be
I'm going to
home
interrupt
to
you.
the Junos in 2026 in our newly renovated TD Coliseum. So that building formerly First Ontario Centre, formerly Cops Coliseum, is undergoing a $280 million renovation. So one of the biggest private sector investments in a arena venue in Canada history. So that's being undertaken by McHugh Group, who've also done projects like Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, UBS Arena, home of the Islanders in New York. Live Nation's also a partner in this building, and they're really looking at making this a music-first venue. Certainly, sport has a huge role, but things like instead of pipe and drape in a hockey locker room, you have artist lounges. It's just curated from end to end to really make sure it's a seamless experience for guests and artists and the crews leading in. And, the Junos is just one of many events that's coming, but this will be the 7th time Hamilton has hosted the Junos. And it's actually quite fitting because the first time the Junos was ever held in an arena venue was in the former Cops Coliseum, so this same building. So it's quite fitting that one of the first major events in this building after the refresh will be the Junos, and Hamilton has had a ton of success. We have great venues, just amazing local arts and cultural scene that helps support this. So really set up for success. But in addition to the Junos, the announcements are coming quick. We have Paul McCartney opening the building on November 21st. Rod Stewart was just announced yesterday. The Jonas Brothers, Cardi B, Twice, a big K-pop group. Brad Paisley, the Toronto Rock are returning to the building. Oakview Group's publicly talked about an AHL team coming. So this building, it's getting hard to keep up with all the activity. It was a busy building beforehand, but with these renovations, it's going to be just spectacular for Hamilton's downtown core. It's going to be quite a demand driver for tourism and things like the West Harbor Go, these types of investments. It really helps us be that second GTHA venue. Scotiabank Arena is a very busy building, especially with the Leafs and Raptors. So with more dates and more music focus, those Toronto area acts, more and more will come to Hamilton, and it's just going to benefit Hamilton and the region.
And Maria, sorry, you wanted to say something just before we left you there. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. My internet went unstable. Darn right. I just wanted to say about Hamilton that we at the regional level are very excited about what all that is happening in Hamilton, the investments the city has made, private sector has made there, really to elevate, the opportunity to come in and enjoy a Hamilton experience, but also an opportunity to really, create some great economic impact for the broader community. And there is an interest in terms of how we grow that regionally, the opportunity too, so that we can even have more going on. So just wanted to highlight to Ryan, congratulations, and looking forward to open day. I know it's coming soon. So.
Yes, and between the investments in the arena, our convention center is also getting a $10 million refresh. Cultural gems like our art gallery, Theater Aquarius, our stadium, Hamilton Stadium, formerly Tim Hortons Field. We just have an amazing portfolio of sport and cultural entertainment assets, and they're improving. So we're just looking as Tourism Hamilton to make sure we leverage these heavily, in addition to our homegrown amazing festivals like Supercrawl, Dundas, Cactus Festival. There's so much to be excited about here locally.
And Ryan, some people look at infrastructure programs and they think, well, we've got a great arena with Cops Coliseum. Why are they dumping all that money in there? But to your point of the artists that you've got coming in, it's those updates and increased seatings that make you able to host international talent like that. Speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, you're bang on. And the building before, it was a big barn, but the amenities just weren't there. Whether that's the type of facilities and amenities that the artist needs, the food and beverage options that make per ticket per head the revenue numbers you need. So those really are there now, and as well there's restaurants and bars which will create year-long activation. It's not a dead space if there's not an event, but prior to the renovation, that building, the upper bowl was used. It's about a 18,000 seat arena. The upper bowl was used maybe 6-8 times a year. Now already, this is going to be a monthly basis where we have shows that are selling out this, 18,000 seat arena with world-class acts. And that just doesn't happen without that type of investment. And one thing I will note as well, this is a private sector investment. So this is something where the obligation of maintaining and operating this facility has come off the back of the local taxpayer. So this is just a success story on so many levels.
And Ryan, you talk about the major events coming into the city. We talked about the Canadian Open, we talked about the Grey Cup, we've talked about curling events. Um, your area is able to host events like that because of the broad volunteer base that you have available to you, and that is in large part due to a lot of the festivals that run in and around your area, and the base of volunteers that you have to call on. Can you talk about the importance of that volunteer base in getting big events to your area?
Without question, that's a key strength, and it's front and center in all of our bids. It's great to have the venues, but the local expertise to step up and even just on this call, Maria sits on a number of host committees for the Junos. Lisa chairs a number of committees. We just really leverage what we have in place locally to just make sure it's something really special. And I look at the 2023 Grey Cup, which we hosted, and of course the game itself was a great game, full sellout at the time, Tim Hortons Field, but the CFL, the Ticats, and the whole host committee, we engaged Sonic Onion Records to essentially do a Grey Cup themed super crawl. We had unseasonably warm weather. We programmed it with music acts, and whether you were a football fan or not, you knew the Grey Cup was in town, and two, there was something for you. So that was something where the community just had such amazing feedback that beyond just a football game, this really was a community celebration. And the CFL, that's a Canadian gem that's part of our culture, and it was really used to not just celebrate football and CFL, but local artists and Hamilton community. And by working so closely with event organizers like Lisa and Tim at Sonic Onion Records, and we've partnered with the Santa Claus Parade, which happened during the festival as well. Just really leaned on all the strength we have in place. And, in our bids, the fact that we were Festival Events Ontario Municipality of the Year back in 2023, I believe it was, maybe 2026, we can make another run. But these types of things really speak to event organizers. They know if you come to Hamilton, you're going to have the infrastructure and expertise in place and a community and region that really embraces their event and just sets them up for success, both logistically and financially. They want to know they can sell tickets and have, the tens or hundreds of thousands of people, depending on the event, come through.
Well, thanks very much, Ryan. Lots going on in Hamilton. And of course, we can't talk about the Hamilton area and the cultural things going on without talking about Lisa LaRocca. And she's got her hands in so many pies. And, she's one of the first calls when you go to that area of how to get connected and what's going on. So, Lisa, welcome. I think you're going to talk about mostly Supercrawl, but you guys have a lot of other events going on throughout the year. So over to you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you. Hello. Yeah, so Supercrawl is obviously our biggest festival. For those who don't know, it's a large free street festival, music and art street festival. Two major stages, but also art installations, fashion, theater, dance performances, vendors, food trucks, tons of local business involved. And we see about 275,000 people over the weekend each year. So it's quite a big event for downtown. But we also, like you said, do a bunch of other events year round. So we have a beer festival called Because Beer. We did our regular Hamilton one in July that was very successful this year, but we also did our first one in Guelph this year that was also a success. And we have a winter version of that called Because Burr as well. We're going to be doing some programming at Pier 8 in Hamilton this year as well around Halloween and around the holidays. So that'll be 10 days in total of outdoor programming that's new to us this year. And we're also, we're involved all year round with our venues in Hamilton as well, doing programming and hosting concerts and all kinds of shows. So we're very busy in the event space.
And Lisa, I know it's no secret, hosting free festivals, there's no such thing as a free festival. There's costs to putting on. And unfortunately, we're seeing things like Sound of Music having difficulty. And, what's your secret to success in keeping the Supercrawl alive like you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, the budget budgets every year are very difficult. I think having a good mix of funding across, every revenue stream that you can. So grant funding in Ontario is extremely important. Experience Ontario that was already mentioned, but there's federal grants and other provincial grants that we really do rely on for free events specifically, but also having a good mix of, sponsorship and activations where you can get it, and vendor revenue and other on-site revenue, and city support. We always thank the City of Hamilton for their support, both financial through their granting program, but also in kind and just general support of our event, and RTO3 as well, with marketing support. So it's kind of, you have to have a really strong mix from everywhere, that you can find it and really get the support for years when certain avenues may dip down. Other revenue sources can kind of help you stay afloat.
And we didn't really touch on it with Maria or Ryan, but um, culinary in Hamilton and RTO3 is a big aspect as well. A lot of great restaurants and a lot of great food. I mean, a lot of farming communities and stuff like that in and around area. So for foodies and that culinary experience in Hamilton is really second to none as well. Can you speak to, you had talked about your food truck programs and
Yeah, every year at Supercrawl we have up to 40 food trucks, so a great spread of things to try, but there's also so many local restaurants and other food businesses within the Supercrawl area alone, but within our downtown and within the rest of the city, that people can try when they're here, and we hope and love to see them all packed and sold out and full. That's why we have to supplement with all the food trucks because the restaurants really are busy as well. But we've got everything that you can imagine in Hamilton and a lot of great food to try. I haven't even tried it all, and I'm out there every day. So, yeah, definitely a lot of great culinary experiences and a lot of chefs and food trucks doing very interesting things.
thank you very much, Lisa. Always great to talk to you, and we know we can count on your support when we're looking for advice and information in the region.
Yeah, thank you.
From Supercrawl, we head over to the Dundas Cactus Festival and welcome John Balogh. John, welcome to Experience Ontario, FEO on the air.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me, everyone. Sounds like everybody's all ramped up for 2026. We were very, very lucky this year to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Cactus Festival. So 50 years strong, that pretty well is proof in the point. The city of Hamilton and the town of Dundas, where we cooperatively do this show, it's amazing. As Lisa mentioned, you need so many partners these days, not only for funding, but for marketing and for just general advances for the people to be aware of what's going on, to draw them in. Most of the local people, I think, around the area know the local events that we do, so we try and make an effort to get out of the area. We go so far as to out of town into the United States. I know that's a bad word today, but not for their 1.42. It isn't. Bring all you can. We make a concerned effort to go to northern radio stations and northern TV, and try and draw people from these areas too. I mean, when you're driving through a tourist town and you hear an event's happening 1,000 miles away. Well, if you're going to Toledo, this is happening in Toledo today. We do the same kind of thing with the Cactus Festival out of town, in tons of small markets to draw those people, hopefully, into Dundas, into Hamilton.
John, you talk about 50 years, and we think about your 50th anniversary. You think about 50 years old. 50 years running a festival, that in and of itself is quite impressive. What's the secret to the success of that then?
I think the secret's a good, strong boards to start with, to make sure that you have succession financially every year, because we've been involved and watched a lot of festivals over the last 25 years. As Lisa said, it's not, 40 years ago when I started in the festival business, the entertainment dollar was like this. But now there are so many festivals, the entertainment dollar is now like this. It is stretched so very, very fine. And what makes it difficult is to look and try and do new things. Because there's a myriad of a festival for every genre and occasion, you really have to look outside the box or the circle to find stuff that are going to attract that's new. And relatively, if you look at the festival landscape in Ontario, in Canada, we're sort of penalized in that we have a group, we have our arts community and our music community, but it's a shallow pool compared to the international community. And we have, artist development that we've worked on for 50 years at the Cactus Festival. We have an artist development area. But you still need those large marquee value acts to draw the people there. And what we more or less try and do is bring and make a balance between the developing acts and the marquee value acts that are going to bring the people to the festival. I mean, it's a long going saying, people are not coming to festivals anymore for tie-dyed t-shirts and souvlaki and hash pipes. That's 40 years ago. So the landscape has changed immensely, and now they want to see quality entertainment. They want to have an assortment of food and beverage. I mean, in the old days, the festival was a couple of sloppy grease burgers, and that doesn't really even hardly exist anymore. We have a lot of fine food fairs at food trucks. The people bring a taste experience now that is unparalleled years ago. So I think quality entertainment as well as upcoming entertainment and things that people don't see at other festivals. You really have to find a niche area and attract from that pool.
So for 50 years running a festival, you must have a cross-generational volunteer base too. Some volunteers that have maybe been there for the full 50 years, and you might have some people who've been there less than 5 years who are equally as important, bringing in new ideas and keeping things fresh and moving. Can you talk about the importance of keeping somebody from all of those generational areas involved and engaged?
Well, absolutely, and you're absolutely correct. It's multi-generational at 50 years, and we try and bring in new board members every year, as well as a new volunteer base. And we have brainstorming sessions with new people on the board, as well as the volunteers. And volunteers do play an extremely large role in our festival. We're very privileged to have such a large base of volunteers that we do, because it's really the volunteers that execute the hardest parts of the festival. I mean, we have a recycling area that we try to keep all our garbage to a minimal, so we're very eco-bound in that area. So, I mean, that's a big team of volunteers that are literally picking through garbage to separate everything, and you can't even put into words the thanks that go to those people. But yeah, this year it was amazing because actually we had parents that were volunteers, we had grandmothers that were volunteers, and their grandchildren who came as volunteers. So you're absolutely correct in that paradigm. The 3 generations come to volunteer, and they know because grandma went and mom went and now the kid went, and they all have varied interests. And obviously the interests are aligned to their niches themselves, from grandma to mom to the children. And that's really the secret, is bringing new, fresh ideas and opportunities of not only music and arts and celebration. We try to also delve into the cultural background too, and bring a lot of different cultures to animate their music and dance and performance. And in that area, we've been extremely successful. And I think that happens to sort of mark that festival in that genre.
Well, thanks very much, John, and from all of us at Festival and Events Ontario, congratulations on 50 years. That's 50 years. That's a milestone to be celebrated for sure.
And thank you to everybody to make that possible.
Troy, we've talked about a lot of things. Hopefully we've left a few for Attractions Ontario to talk about. When you're in and around the area for all of these different events we talked about, what else can you do in the RTO3 area?
Well, Dave, usually when I come on to these things, I'm able to go through, the majority of our members in a particular region. It's actually impossible for me to do that today because there are so many different attractions in RTO3. RTO3 has got one of the biggest clusters of cultural and heritage type attractions, whether it's the Hamilton Civic Museums with Thunder and Castle, Battlefield House, and all the different ones that they have there. Things like Alexander Graham Bell Museum, which isn't a member of ours, but I'll still give them a shout out because that's an important place. And so there's just so much. I was just looking at just Hamilton alone, and I probably had about 15 members that I could have gone into, whether it's, the Confederation Park and Wild Waterworks there, Venture Village there as well. And then you get outside of that area and you get a little bit further afield, and I get down to Brantford and to Paris areas, and I see the Grand River stuff with Grand River rafting and the Grand River cruises, dinner cruises down there. A lot of Six Nations attractions as well. I mean, there is such diversity in Hamilton, Halton, Brant. Haldeman, Halton, Brant, sorry. Hamilton is just a part of that. It's Hamilton, I've always thought, is one of the areas that is severely overlooked when it comes to tourism in this province. There is so much there. And unfortunately, most people are aware of it as they drive from Toronto to Niagara Falls and back again and don't take the time to get off the highway. And they should, whether it's to go to Royal Botanical Gardens, which is there. I mean, Hamilton is beautiful. You get off and start exploring some of those neighborhoods in Hamilton. It is really impressive. I've been lucky the last couple of years through youth sports to spend a lot of time in the Hamilton area and see parts of it that I hadn't before. Same thing with Brantford and Paris and all of those. I've been all over, and even down through Hagersville and parts of places like that in Haldimand County. So much there. And if you haven't been to downtown Burlington and wandered around the boardwalk there on the lake and check out the pier, it's amazing. There's so much there, and I'd just be scratching the surface. I could probably talk for the entire hour on just the variety of attractions that you can find in RTO3. It's, to me, a really undiscovered part for so many people of Ontario. I think for a lot of people here in Toronto, where I'm at, Hamilton's almost too close, right? Like they don't think of it as a place to go. And those that do, they understand what's there. Those that make it down to Paris understand what's there, and then get down to the Lake Erie shore there. Yeah, there's just an awful lot going on in RTO3.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the Grand River, one of Canada's only heritage rivers. And like you said, the shores of Lake Erie, the shores of Lake Ontario, two great lakes, and so much natural beauty in and around the area to explore, whether it's trails. I know people that are trying to walk the entire length of the Niagara Escarpment, and you can't do that without going through RTO3.
Well, you're right. I mean, I think it unfortunately gets overshadowed by Niagara and by Toronto. But hey, let's talk about the waterfall capital of the world, right? Or at least the province. Is it the world? Maria, can you back me up on that? Is it the world or just the province? Either way, there's an awful lot of waterfalls in and around Hamilton. So many little hidden gems to find, whether it's this natural outdoor beauty that you want to find, or whether it's you paid attractions. I mean, I can talk about African Lion Safari. I mean, I think I already talked about them in RTO4, but technically they're in RTO 3. They're right on the border. And they are Attractions Ontario's founding members, so I would be remiss to not mention them when we talk about this region. So there is just so many things that you can do in and around RTO 3.
So, Troy, before we wrap it up, if people are listening and trying to plan their festival season, where would they look to find the different attractions in and around the areas?
Well, definitely attractionsontario.ca. We'll have listings for all that. We've broken down the RTO into the major components. I was just looking at our listing for RTO 3, and I think we could do a little bit more. So I think we need to add Brant County and Haldeman County as standalone entities to make sure that we are capturing everybody that we have in our membership base there. Because right now it just concentrates on Oakville and Burlington, Hamilton, and Brantford, and you're missing out if we're not doing more. So we're going to be expanding our RTO 3 listing, but that's a great spot to get an idea of what's there. I mean, I should have mentioned too, Oakville, you're getting a little bit closer to Toronto and Mississauga area. I fly in Oakville. I'm a little too big. You're probably a little too big too, Dave, for us to go and do that attraction. But for many other people, they'll be able to soar. Yeah, there's just, again, so many attractions and so many different things to do. I would suspect that Maria on her website also has a listing of attractions that you could go and find and really incorporate around your festivals. Your festivals get you down. The festivals help define when you're going to go, and everything else just adds to your experience while you're there.
Thanks very much, Troy. And of course, you can always check Festival Events Ontario for everything happening in and around the regions all around the province. But Troy, Lisa, John, Ryan, thank you very much. Maria, I'm going to leave it with you for the last word on RTO3 and having people come and visit your great area.
Thanks, Dave. I just want to build on what Troy highlighted. Absolutely, we have a lot of attractions across the region, Hamilton, Halton, Brant. At a lot of these attractions, they also have events that take place. So a way again to draw people into experience the attractions. For example, our Royal Botanical Gardens right now, we have the fall season and they have a really big, significant pumpkin trail event that they're doing. We have in the Milton area a significant pumpkin trail event going on. So there's a lot of seasonal events that are going on. And even our agritourism partners such as Spring Ridge in Milton, Puttycombs in Hamilton, to name a few, Diamond Farms in Hamilton, are all into the season and have events and activities that are going on, and our attractions themselves sort of leveraging what they do there in terms of agriculture and culinary as well. They've got lots of great, if you want apples and baked pies and tarts, going to those places is the place to go. So definitely when you come to Hamilton, festivals and events are definitely an important way of luring people to our region. But it's when you come here, it's adding more to your stay. We have the attractions, we have the culinary, we have our outdoors. We're leveraged by the Grand River, as has been highlighted. We have the Bruce Trail also. We have the Niagara Escarpment that has the waterfalls, and the Bruce Trail that also goes by the Niagara Escarpment. We have gardens, we have waterfronts. There's really a lot of great experiences that suit everyone's interests and needs. And if you are going to Toronto or Niagara, it's not complicated to add us onto your itinerary as well.
Thank you
Just
very
wanted
much.
to also acknowledge with John, the Dundas Cactus Festival. Congratulations on 50 years. And I think one of the biggest things about Dundas that's also representative of our region is that we've got the rural and small town experiences, and that really also draws visitors into the region. And when you have an event like the Dundas Cactus Festival, it's about coming and experiencing the small town experience, and on top of that, have a great festivals and event experience when you're here as well.
Perfect.
That's it.
Thanks
Thank
very
you for the
much.
opportunity.
And Jay's listed links to everybody in the chat for anybody looking for more information. Hope everybody's enjoyed this chapter of FEO on the Air, Experience Ontario. We've been in the heart of Ontario, RTO 3. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I hope you can join us next week for a FEO Masterclass. We'll be talking about weather and weather warnings and how they affect festivals and events across the province. Until then, I'm Dave MacNeil. Thanks for listening to FEO on the Air.
Thanks for listening to FEO on the Air, the voice of festivals and events in Ontario.